I wanted to share this interview with my father that I filmed recently on a visit to Scotland. We talked about his journey as a Mario Lanza fan, from first seeing him on screen in 1951 to seeing him live in concert in 1958 at the Usher Hall. It's fascinating to hear his recollections of Mario's charisma and voice in person that night in Edinburgh. My father is 87 years old and thankfully still has perfect recall, as these memories are the same as I heard him telling me when I was a wee boy, as I sat listening to Mario Lanza fascinated. I still have that same fascination. I hope you enjoy these recollections as much as I do. So we have an awful lot in common. We share a name. We're both artistic. I got that little bit of skill from you, not as good as you. I also, and the most important thing, is my love of music from you and being able to sing. I also got that love of Mario Lanza, and he was always there in the house when I was growing up. You had the records and the scrapbooks. And I wanted you to share, and I wanted to get on film, the stories of you falling in love with him and listening to him in the 1950s. So, could you transport yourself back to the first time you saw him?
Yeah, my sister wanted to take me to the cinema this day. And she wanted to go and see The Great Carousel. I wanted to go to the other cinema to see Tarzan. And we went to see Mario Lanza, and when we walked in, he was actually
singing.
He was just in the process of singing Pagliacci.
But he didn't grab you there?
Not at all. And not at all, no, not at all. And I still wanted to go and see Tarzan. So we came out of the cinema and then we went to see Tarzan. My sister took me to see Tarzan, so she made my day that day as well. It wasn't until AFN, when I heard them on the radio.
American Forces Network.
Yeah, AFN, in Luxembourg. And I heard him singing Be My Love and his love songs, and then he began to grab me.
He was everywhere at the time.
Mario Lanza was the thing of the moment. He was the greatest thing that the world has ever heard.
The Coca-Cola Company brings you Mario Lanza.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. On this, our first program, I'd like to take a moment to tell you about our plans for this summer series. In my recent concert tour across the United States, I was deeply gratified at everyone's warm response to good music, to the better composers, and that is just what we are going to try to bring to you. Not only the popular songs, but selections from the concert stage, and from time to time, one of the great arias. Each week, we will welcome a singing guest, and each week, we will listen to some of Ray Sinatra's fine musical interpretations.
So once he got under your skin, listening to him on the radio show, that's where the love affair started with the voice and the man.
That's when, yes,
So did you go back to the cinema and catch up with those films?
Yes, I would go to one cinema. It would be playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I would go to another cinema on a Thursday, or the Friday or the Saturday to see him.
And something else, or see it again, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the magic? What was the draw? What was it?
The draw was the beauty of the voice. It was the understanding of music that a lot of people don't really appreciate and understand. Mario Lanza, when he sang this song, he lived the words, he lived the notes.
He understood the song.
He understood the music, understood the words, and he lived the song. He lived each moment of the song. He put his heart and soul into it. Where other singers just get through it, as far as I'm concerned, that's the way I hear them.
So you're a young 15, 16-year-old, and you're listening to him on the radio, and he starts to get under your skin. Before that, you hadn't really fell in love with music that way. So he opened that whole door to opera, everything. You got drawn into that world and along with him.
Yes, because of my older brother, I'd heard Geely. But to me, it was just it was opera.
Yeah,
and I hadn't given any thought to.
You hadn't got the beauty of it yet. Yeah,
not got the beauty of it yet. Yeah, but when I heard Mario Lanza, that was the way the song should be sung.
Yeah, he
he
connected.
He
to you.
connected.
Yeah.
He connected. When I heard him sing, I thought, yeah. Well, he stands out.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter which other tenor I heard after that, you know.
And I think you loved the doorway from opera to popular songs and back again. That you loved that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But there's no other singer that I know can do that.
How rare is that you would hear an opera? Obviously, your popular singers, you have Sinatra and all that. But to have an operatic voice and to be able to move gears,
it's almost impossible. It's almost an impossibility for an opera singer to tone down to singing the Cole Porter
and to know the approach and
to know the approach. To go back to the singing ballads and romantic songs. There has been no one, and there'll be no one else that'll ever do it like Lanza did. No way. No way at all.
Beautifully said. That's exactly right. So you've caught up with the films, and because you're mine, there starts to be a little bit of trouble. And he has a problem with Curtis Bernhardt making student prints. The press didn't really explain that at the time, that the director had asked him to sing a song a certain way, to criticise his singing. And there is a 3-year absence with Lanza, and a little bit of the confidence I think, gone from him. Can we talk about that? Because you talked about, with that talent, that being criticised, it's hard to take, and that he wasn't understood, that he was hypersensitive, a very emotional artist. Yes. That it'd be very hard to...
Yes, people didn't understand. He gave everything to a song, because every song he has sung, he sings it that no other singer could copy.
He leaves everything on the table, doesn't he?
He lays everything out on the table. Yeah. Exactly. With his strength of voice, his range, his beauty of voice, silver tones, golden tones.
We've talked about the rarity of being able to cross over.
The 3 ranges.
And that's so rare. And what I'm trying to get to here is that you had this seamless lower, middle, high register, seamless moving from Verdi to Cole Porter.
That's right. So he could sing anything.
It's almost too good to be true. Yeah.
Exactly.
Was that a hard time when he has a dispute with the student prince, and there's 2 or 3 years where you don't get to see him?
This to me was a killer. I mean, this was a killer.
Did you find it hard to understand why they couldn't just fix things?
That's exactly right. I mean, I just couldn't understand what was going on, and there was a loss in my whole life, not hearing him, not seeing him on the screen for 3 years. You know, it was very, 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 very difficult. It's very, very difficult. It was very, very difficult for me.
We were saying about trying to understand why the studio couldn't resolve things with this great talent. Why be so stubborn? It was almost like they wanted to break him. It seemed almost like jealousy.
Yes, it was jealousy. It was jealousy, and Mario Lanza's temperament. He was fiery as well, but with a voice like that, you have to be.
And I think you should give a little bit for people like that, because they're special.
They are special, and it's a temperament and that fire that he had in his stomach.
And it's a small price to pay to have a little bit more patience to get it out of him.
Yes, to have a wee bit of appreciation and a bit of consideration.
So when you saw, because I know through the newspaper clippings in the scrapbook, when you would see that he was having trouble with confidence and he mimed to recordings on TV, were you almost pulling your hair out going, why does he keep making these mistakes?
Exactly, yes. Because he was being controlled by people who couldn't sing themselves. They didn't understand the voice.
And they were getting in his head, I think.
Yes. And they didn't understand his voice, they didn't understand his temperament. To them, he was just being awkward.
Yeah.
He's being destructive.
But it must be, when I was a child and I was looking through your scrapbook, which is great to have, and I know you can't always believe what's in the tabloids, but I get a little bit anxious. I'm like, oh, he's having trouble with MGM. Then he has a chance to have a TV comeback, and he messes up the first one by miming. Now he does come back.
He does.
He comes back and he shows them, and that's a beautiful appearance, that comeback. But then he was supposed to sing at Vegas, and he got stage fright. How did you feel watching that before the comeback with Serenade? Did you just feel like, oh my God, what's happening to this man?
Exactly. Yes, to me it was one big mystery. The greatest singer the world has ever heard, and all we're hearing about and all we're reading about in the local papers was how Mario Lanza was having trouble with the studio, his temperament, his
TV appearances,
mood, his TV appearances, his refusal to sing in the nightclubs, and all this.
When you hear that little maturity and the change in the voice, how warmer and more baritonal it becomes from Serenade, but you also noticed that he sang songs more intelligently.
Yeah.
With Serenade. You love that soundtrack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Lanza put his heart and soul into a song. He didn't just want to raise it and shout the song out. He sang it with feeling, emotion, with beauty.
And there's a whole other level of intelligence I think, from Serenade.
Intelligence,
yeah.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's not a singer. A singer is not just a singer who stands on a stage and bellows out a note. It needs intelligence to
read the lyrics,
to read the lyrics, the pronunciation, the way he pronounces his words.
The diction is beautiful.
Yes.
I want to talk about the excitement you must have felt, and I know you've told me this story, that first of all, that he was coming to Britain, namely London, for the Royal Variety Show, and that there would be a TV appearance on this Sunday night at the London Palladium. Now, tell me about that.
So my father had a stroke and he wasn't well. And when I heard that Mario Lanza was coming to London, the London Palladium, we didn't have television either. So I went to my sister and we discussed it. And for my father's sake, we bought the television, and so that my father could see Mario Lanza at the London Palladium.
So you got the TV just because that TV appearance was coming up?
Because Mario Lanza was coming on London Palladium, yes. Yeah.
And do you remember the night watching on TV, and what was the feeling like, or can you remember that? I know you've seen the appearance since, so...
Well, to me, Mario Lanza was a god anyway. I mean,
I think he's the only...
It was indescribable, the
Would you say that he's... And I know you don't have idols per se, but he holds that one space for you, doesn't he? A very special place.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And you know, I think that the press portrayed him badly. There was a lot of jealousy. And I think he was a good man.
It was pure and simple gossip, jealousy and upmanship.
Yes.
They just wanted to take a dig at him any way they could. He was the best singer that they had ever heard, but they would not admit it.
As we say, it's almost too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
So, do you remember watching that TV appearance?
Oh yeah.
Do you? Who was there? Were you all around the TV and?
Well, yeah, my sisters and my mother and my father, and oh yeah, I was just mesmerised. You know, it was absolutely just to see him there. Yeah. Yes. To me, it was like he was in my living room.
Yeah, that's lovely. Now,
like he was in my living room.
What was the excitement like when they announced that there would be a concert tour?
When I heard he was coming to Edinburgh, I mean, I was overjoyed. I couldn't wait. Yeah.
Did it sell? It must have sold out quite quickly. I know he had quite good sales.
Oh yeah.
Did you get your ticket quite quickly?
Yeah, it was full. On the organ gallery and
the Usher Hall is like the Albert Hall. Just explain.
The organ gallery. Well, they had seats up there.
If there's extra bookings, they put them behind.
They put them behind them. No, I couldn't believe I was there actually in the theatre. And I mean, the stage was empty. We were waiting for Mario Lanza's appearance, and butterflies in my stomach. You know, it made me feel sick. I couldn't wait. And when he stepped on that stage, and he greeted everyone in the theatre, I mean, it was absolutely. I mean, the crowd in the theatre, the applause when he came on was thunderous. You know,
Yeah.
It
He was
an
actually
emotional moment.
he was really loved in Britain actually. What was the excitement like in Usher Hall? Can you remember? I know it's a long time to ask you. It must have been electric.
Well, to me, yes. Everybody, I could feel the feelings of every person in that theatre. I do, and for myself, it was like God standing there.
Oh, Dad.
You know, it was like God standing there. You know, to me, it was a dream come true,
And
I couldn't believe he was there.
now I know that there was a newspaper article in the paper the next day explaining that the doctor told him not to sing and that his leg was bothering him. Did you notice that he was?
Yes. During the performance, he leaned on the piano a lot
To relieve the leg.
Yeah, because he had his leg bandaged.
Phlebitis.
Phlebitis, yes, and he had his leg bandaged.
So what was it like? Was the personality?
The personality on the stage was phenomenal.
Oh.
He said he came with just casual clothes. He didn't have an evening dress at all, and told the audience. He said you have to excuse my appearance. He said because my evening suit. He says. I left it on the taxi with a taxi driver called George. He says, taxi
now,
driver.
just to explain that he actually liked to dress casual and used that line all the time, apparently.
He liked to be informal.
Yeah. So the connection was there. I mean.
Yes. He was down to earth. He wanted to mingle with the common person. Yeah. He wasn't a snob.
And did you enjoy the voice that night? Because I know the Usher Hall is a tough one to fill.
Yes. I heard them live. I heard the voice live without artificial
amplification.
Yes, the voice.
Strong, beautiful.
Didn't tire at all. No microphone.
And you heard everything.
Yeah. Well, I was only about the fifth row in.
Lovely.
I was at the fifth row in. I was from here to there till now. You know, I'd paid 7 and 6, and that was the top. One of the top. I was in the front stalls. Yeah, well, that was the top.
But the voice had a nice ring to it. I remember you telling me that.
The voice was thunderous in the theatre.
Lovely.
It was absolutely thunderous. And his top notes just rang like a church bell, you know.
And you say that voice didn't tire the whole...
Didn't tire.
From beginning to
end.
end.
As I said, no, he sang about 12, 13 songs, and you couldn't tell when he took a breath. He sang fluent, beautiful.
Well, you talk about that actually, the breath control, because that's another thing about him is that he just seems to have such...
He just seems to, he had the most powerful and best breath control that I've ever heard. With Mario Lanza, it was fluent.
You couldn't hear it.
And you couldn't hear when he took the breath, when he needed the breath or anything.
Yeah, it was seamless actually.
It was seamless. And every song he sang, you cannot tell when he takes a breath.
Will you tell me about that little human interaction with the man sitting behind?
Yes. So when Mario Lanza was going for a break, with the theatre being
booked out,
they had the seats on the organ gallery and the back behind the stage, and he had to pass through in between the seats to go to the dressing room. And as he was leaving the stage, this man on the end of the row said something to Mario Lanza. But Mario Lanza didn't just acknowledge it and walk by. Mario Lanza stopped and put his arms around his shoulder and went as close to him as possible, listened to what he said. Then Mario Lanza patted him on the shoulder, and
a lot of warmth there. That's lovely.
Yeah, the warmth, and he went away to the changing room to have his break.
And that little interaction with Kalinikos.
And then his pianist on the piano was a glass of water, and periodically Mario Lanza would take a little sip of water, but he never turned to face the piano. He always just leaned back, and just leaned back and felt for the glass and had a little sip and just laid it back on the piano. Well, at this point now, his pianist,
Kalinikos.
his pianist took the glass and moved it And Mario Lanza leaned back, thinking that the glass was in the same position, leaned back to get the glass, and it wasn't there. So he had to turn round, and I think this annoyed Mario Lanza. I think it annoyed Mario Lanza because he turned round, and the glass was somewhere else. It was so he made like he wanted to punch.
Kind of jokingly, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to punch him in the nose. He was like moving his glass of water, you know. Yeah, and they said the audience just burst out laughing.
Oh, that's nice. That's
yes,
nice.
everybody was, they all burst out laughing. And
so did were you able to take it all in?
it was a great night. Yeah.
You loved it, yeah.
It was a great night.
And a great reception. Did he enjoy the reaction from the audience?
Oh yeah.
Did he look well?
He looked fine. This is why I couldn't understand in the newspapers the following day saying that he had this
phlebitis.
The bad leg.
But you did notice he was leaning slightly.
Because he did definitely lean on the piano at times. Not very often, but he did, and I had noticed it.
You have that fabulous picture of him the next morning, eating his breakfast
in
at
the
hotel.
In the hotel, having his breakfast out the Ashet, and he's got his one leg on top of the chair.
Yeah, we saw that in the press clippings.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell me, I've often wondered, because we have this is the actual concert program from that night, that we've kept safe all these years. It's lovely to have. It's a treasured possession. I often ask you, did you think about going to the stage door, or was it too much?
It was too far above me. It was far too far above me. It was like a god. I mean, to me, it was like a god. And yeah, I would have.
It's not something you even contemplated.
No, I didn't even think of it. I think of it now, but now it's too late.
But I've you know how much I love him, and I've always loved that connection that you saw him, and you've always told me about it, and those little stories, and how warm he was, and how great he sounded that night. And I've loved that connection through you to him. It was lovely. Now, I want to talk about, which is very sad, that a year later, it must have been the most shocking of shocks, because you'd seen him, he seemed healthy, he was only 38. How did you find out that he'd passed away, and how did that make you feel?
I'd finished work. I was working, it was about 5:30 in the evening, and I went for the evening newspaper, and on the front page it said, Mario Lanza dies. And to me it was an absolute shock. I felt from that very moment till now, today, at my age, that part of me died as well. Yeah, it is. Part of me died as well.
You looked forward to each release, album,
every release of album. Every album I had, every record of them I had. I saw them 100 times in the cinema. Every film that came out, I saw it 100 times over and over and over again. To me, it was like part of me dying, and it's been like that ever since. It has.
And did you obviously had, even though you had heard phlebitis, bad leg, you weren't expecting?
Never.
Yeah.
Never expect him to go. Never. It's the last thing on our minds. No.
38 is tragically young.
Oh yeah, 38 years of age. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Now, you have your first son 2 years later, and what did you name him?
Mario.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, Mario. That's my oldest son. Yes. Yeah.
That's nice. I always think that's lovely, that's the first name that you chose. I want to ask you, did it help in any way that releases still came out afterwards? I know it was...
Oh yeah, I mean, I looked forward to the records coming out.
Did you have the Mario album before he passed away? I think it was released in '59, but did you buy it right away?
Oh yeah,
you
had them all. You
love that album. Can we just talk about that, because I know we both, that's our favourite album.
Yes.
And we talk about that artistic maturity that compared to the soar off into space Coca-Cola voice, the intelligence.
His voice was more mature. His voice was more mature. It was more baritone.
His approach was...
Yes, it was more golden. It was, by the record. It was more settled. It was more mature. And the Neapolitan songs that he sang on the disc, his voice was full.
See, I don't know if I would have got there myself, but you always made me aware of that. You know, do you hear a more mature...
His voice is more mature. It was more...
And he's more clever how he's approaching them.
More baritone. It was more baritone, and he didn't force his voice.
Because it suited the material.
Yes. Yeah. He suited the material, and he sang them with full voice, but at the same time it was a lower baritone, rich tone.
And some of the touches he has in those songs are so clever.
Well, I mean, the beauty in Lanza's voice is indescribable. This is it. This is what one has to understand. It was the beauty in the voice. It wasn't just singing a song. It was the beauty of it. Articulate. It was the way he pronounced his words, the way he expressed the words. He felt the words.
Do you know what? I have to thank you, because you've made me aware of all that in music from I was a child to listen to that, even when I was singing myself, to read the lyric, get the feeling right, and it's so thank you for that.
There's thousands and thousands of singers that I've through my age, through my lifetime, that I've heard. But nothing like Lanza, because Mario Lanza had that beauty, the silver, the golden tone, the vocal cords.
Well, I know, watching you over the years, that nobody holds that special place like him with you.
No way, because there's never been another one. And there'll never be another one. Never.
That's lovely. Thanks, Dad. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, I think it would be nice if we finish with something we love doing anyway, which is singing together, and we do one of our favourites from Mario.
Nice to keep.
Behold a heart that is yours alone. Behold, like magic, our love has grown. Behold this heart, this love that I long to give. Keep it close to you. As long as we both shall live, have faith and always believe in me. And love will last till eternity. So lift your eyes and then you will see it's true. Behold, I belong to you.
But he didn't grab you there.
Not at all. And not at all. No, not at all. And I still wanted to go and see Tarzan.